What's up you guys, welcome back to my channel and to another video. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is a makeup video, and I am going to be showing you how to use your makeup brushes. So if you're interested in seeing that and like learning a little bit, then definitely keep on watching. Okay guys, so first things first, I will say this. One, makeup is definitely, as Patrick Starr says, one size fits all. There's definitely rules to this, but they're all very flexible, they're all very bendable. So what I say might not necessarily be what the next person says. It's really what works best for you. So everything that I'm teaching or sharing with you guys today is based, of course, on my own personal experience and my opinion. That being said, you can have the best makeup products in the world, but if you don't know how to use your tools, sis, you're not going nowhere. Like, you're still gonna look like a hot mess. So it's really important to know how to use your makeup tools. So hence this video. I have had some requests, very strong requests from certain people to kind of do a video like this. And so for today's video, the emphasis is really not going to be on the products, but really on the tools that I'm going to be using. I'm going to insert clips so you can get a closer look of the types of brushes that I'm using for each stage of my makeup, just so you understand what the brush is for, how it's used, and how best you can get the best results using it. And again, emphasizing this, you can use one brush for 10 million ways. This is just how I use them. So if you find that you have a different use for that brush that works better for you, then go ahead and do that. So okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to start with is brows. I always start with my brows first. So I'm going to be using a couple of brushes to do my brows. I typically use about 3 brushes. So the first brush is the brush that I use to apply whatever brow product I'm using. I also use another brush to kind of clean up under my brows, and then of course another brush to blend out the concealer underneath my brows. Let me just quickly apologize if the lighting starts getting dark. I'm looking at the clouds outside and they're moving pretty fast. It's been quite a cloudy day, and this was like the little break I had to film. So if it does get dark, apologies, but I really want to get this video out. So I take the first brush, which is the this angled brush, and that's what I use to apply product to my brows. And I like to interchange between that brush and the next brush that I'm using, which is like this flat precision brush that I use to apply my, it's actually raining, that I use to apply my concealer. I love that it's small because that gives you a lot of control over the product and the placement underneath your brow. So again guys, I'm apologizing for the lighting and the fact that it literally it started raining out of nowhere. So once I apply my concealer, I like to blend it out immediately, especially when it's underneath my eyes. So I go in with this brush and I kind of just dab that and blend out the concealer. Once that is done, I go back in with my, so basically I switch back and forth between my angled brush, the one that I apply the product with, the brush that I apply the concealer with, and then the one that I blend out the concealer with, just until I get that perfect brow shape that I'm looking for. And that's pretty much how I do my brows. I just go back and forth with those brushes and yeah, that's my brow pretty much. Okay guys, so now that our brows are all done, the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to our face. So we're gonna apply we're gonna move on to our eyes, sorry. And I think eyeshadow is really where a lot of people struggle. So if this is you and like you're one of those people who's never too sure which brush to use for eyeshadow, then try focus on the brushes I'm using as opposed to my technique for applying the eyeshadow, which I know might be a bit difficult. But I mean, I've done quite a lot of like makeup videos in the past that are on my channel that really show how I like use the brush, like what motions I'm using with the brush and all of that stuff. So really just focus on which brush I'm using for which part. That being said, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna prime our eyeshadow, our eyelid. And to blend out that concealer, again, I'm going back with this brush that I used earlier. It's dome shape and thickly packed or densely packed brush hairs are perfect for blending out more thicker liquids such as concealer. And if I didn't say this earlier, this is the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. Okay, so once you've applied your concealer, you've blended it out, you're gonna wanna set it. And what I use to set my concealer is this brush. This is the Real Techniques setting brush, and you'll see me use it again later. Basically, this brush is a powder brush. It's a setting brush. It's got loosely packed brush hairs that make it very easy to pick up powder and like similar product, and I just basically go all over my eye with that and some powder. Okay, so once that is out of the way, I'm gonna move on to my eye. I've picked an eye look that is relatively simple, easy to follow, so you guys won't get confused. Just try and focus on which brushes I use for which part. It will change your eyeshadow game completely. So the first brush I'm using is the Morphe M535 brush, which is a crease brush. It's a very wide crease brush and is really great for applying your your transition color and other like similar eyeshadow colors for that area. And then just a word of advice, when it comes to makeup brushes, right, it's like a pencil. So if you hold it at the tip, you apply Chai!
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here.
You apply less pressure. If you hold it up close to the brush head, you apply more pressure. More pressure equals more product. So for eyeshadow, it's always good to hold your brush at the end. That way you apply less pressure and less product, because you know that with eyeshadow, you always want to add on as you go. It's easier to add than to remove. And then I'm going to go in with a similar brush. This is the Kala 311 blending brush. Also a blending brush similar to the one we just used. It's got a smaller head. That way I can definitely get more precision when I'm doing my crease work. And so basically I use this kind of brush when I'm applying eyeshadow to my crease. So the smaller your brush head, the more precision, the more detail you can do. So if you want to really do like precision and detailed work on your eyes, you want to go in with a smaller brush. Another tip when it comes to your makeup brushes is to have more than one of the same brush, so that you can easily use the same type of brush for a similar function without having to always run and clean it. Okay, so once that is done and we've got our crease out of the way, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick up a flat shader brush, and this is the one that I'm using. And what we do with that is we pack eyeshadow onto the eyelid like so. So not the crease, not the upper eye. You basically use this to just pack eyeshadow onto your lid. And then when you're using that brush, you can always go back to the color crease brush and just make sure that you're not having any harsh lines, just to blend out any harsh gradients that you may have. Another way in which you can use your flat eyeshadow brush is you can make it wet or dampen it, and then use it to apply like shimmer shades, just to intensify the pigmentation that you would be getting from that. And as you can see, it gives you a much better color pigmentation payoff. And in those few easy steps, that's really eyeshadow application. Though if you have those type of blending brushes and a flat shader brush, you can really do a lot of eye looks with that. I am going to show you another brush later on for underneath the eyes that you can also use, but really those three brushes can really get you through a lot of eye looks. So right now I'm going to move on into the face, and I'm going to just prime my face, and I'm not using a brush for that, so I'm going to speed through this part. Okay, so once my primer is on, what I like to do, you guys know, is I like to apply powder to my face before my foundation. And I use this brush that is this is a BH Cosmetics powder brush. It has less densely packed brush hairs, which again make it easy to pick up powder and powder type products. Okay, so now that our powder is gone, I'm going to move straight into my foundation. And for my foundation, I use a brush similar to the one that I use for powder, but this one, the brush hairs are more densely packed, meaning that it can actually hold the product and makes it easy for me to apply the product. The only thing I would say is that with this kind of brush, you want to dab like that, as opposed to just swirling it around, which you should actually never do when you're applying your foundation, because you want to dab it into your skin as opposed to just moving it up and down all over your face and it actually not going anywhere or doing anything. Okay, so once your powder is applied, your foundation is applied, we're going to move into our concealer. And for concealer, I always use a beauty blender, which looks like this. Please don't mind how dirty mine is, but that's what I always use. And I always make sure I use it damp. And when you're using a beauty blender, what you want to do is just bounce it against your skin. You're not like dragging product anywhere. No, you're just bouncing it against your skin. Right, so once that is done and out of the way, the next thing that you're going to use your beauty blender for is to apply your setting powder, just to set all those areas where you've applied concealer. I like to take my setting brush that I used from earlier, the Real Techniques one, and I use it to dab off all the excess powder that may be on my face, because there's always going to be a bit of excess powder. Excess, not excess, like extra. English is definitely not my first language. Righty-o. So once that is done, we're going to move into our contour. For contour, I like to use this brush by Real Techniques. It's called the Real Techniques contour brush. It's got like a dome end going on, which is perfect for picking up contour, and I like that the bristles work for powder and for cream products. They're not too densely packed, but they're also not loosely packed like an ordinary powder brush, so that actually works to your advantage. Now I like to take a smaller brush, similar to the one that I use for blending my concealer by my eyes, and I like to use that brush in order to contour my nose. Remember, if you want more precision, use a smaller brush, which is why I'm going in with a smaller brush when I want to zero in on a specific area of my face. Right, so next up what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my entire face with my face powder, my all over face powder, and I'm using that same brush from earlier that I used, the BH Cosmetics brush for powder. Okay, so once that is done, one thing that I like to do that is different from a lot of people is I like to set my contour with my bronzer, and to do that I use this huge brush from Real Techniques. This is their blush brush. It's also a really big dome shaped brush, and it's got very loosely packed brush hairs, so it really picks up powder quite well. And then to set the bronzer on my nose, or the contour on my face, also using bronzer, I go in with this brush, which is by this brand called UBU. The brush doesn't have a name. I bought this in Clicks many years ago, but I basically use that to kind of just apply some bronzer to my nose. Next up, I'm going in to do my blush. I'm using this brush from BH Cosmetics. It's number 124, and it's a blush brush. This is a proper blush brush as well, and I just use that to apply my blush. It's also got this very domed shape, but it's got a bit of like a cone, like a pointy edge, so it's like a bit of a dome. That it's like a big tapered brush, let me say. Right, and so next up what I like to apply is my highlights, so my little shimmer, because you always want a bit of a glow, and I'm using the Real Techniques setting brush. So like I said, always have multiple of one brush because they can serve multiple purposes, and so I apply that. So the other thing that I said I'm going to show you guys is basically using this smudge brush to apply eyeshadow underneath my eyes. If you're more comfortable around your eyes, you can definitely use a bigger brush. It makes it easier and quicker, but I like to use this smudge brush. It's from Sigma, and it's the E21 brush. Okay guys, so that is the face. Literally all I have to do right now is apply my lashes and my mascara and some eyeliner, do a bit of lip gloss, and that is the face. Those are really all the brushes that you need. If you have a command of those brushes or similar brushes, you're really good to do a full face of makeup. So I'm going to speed through the rest of the video in terms of me just applying my well, actually I'm just gonna go off camera and come back with my lashes and my mascara and then my lipstick, and then I'm gonna close out the video. Okay guys, so I am back, you know, fixed my hair up a little bit and finished off the rest of my face. And yeah, this is pretty much the end of the video. I hope this video was useful to some of you guys. I know makeup and the tools for it can seem daunting sometimes, but it's really a lot of fun. And again, there are no rules, so just go in and do what looks best and feels best to you. Let me know whether this was of any use to you guys, and if there are any of these kinds of videos that you guys maybe would like me to focus on more so than others. Just let me know in the comments. Please make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and shout out to all the new subscribers, because we've gotten quite a few in the past few days, probably thanks to all the people who are at home now, but I appreciate you for subscribing and watching my videos. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please make sure you like this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video.